I did it. I held my breath, half expecting the world to implode because I'd broken the family code of silence, or that a ring of fire would come into being and the devil himself would drag me through to eternal damnation, one of Iris's favourite threats if she thought we were misbehaving. But nothing happened. Everything in the room stayed the same. Detective Warner blinked, nodded, and continued making notes. She must have been sitting on the end of my bed for at least half an hour now. She'd already asked me if I knew of anyone who wanted to harm my family, if my parents had ever expressed any concerns about one or more people, if somebody I knew had shown signs of being violent. I watched while her black, scratchy writing quickly filled up a fresh new page in her notebook. Industrious, Dad would have called her. A worker bee. A constant doer, someone who was always busy. Dad always had a label for people, like he needed them to fit neatly into his predetermined categories. I never really understood why, because in my experience, people are too complex for that. Too messy, with hundreds of overlapping traits and inconsistencies. But labeling people made Dad happy, so that's what he did. I was difficult. Rachel was pathetic. Luke was sullen, and Jack was a problem, at least according to Dad. It was the least harmful of his habits. My breaths were slowing down again now, and for some reason, it struck me how young Detective Warner looked compared with the other investigator she'd arrived with, the tall, quiet man with the grey moustache standing in the corner of the room. His eyes hadn't left me since he took up his unmoving position, and I didn't like it. He was a thinker, an observer, Dad would have said, a people watcher who took in every scene. Detective Warner looked up, her biro poised over a new line. And you can't remember anything else that happened yesterday evening, other than the details you've already told me? No? I shook my head and repeated again what she already knew, that the last thing I recalled about the horrific events of yesterday's dark October evening was being told, ordered, to get into my dad's blue SUV. After that, it's a blank, and the next thing I remember is waking up in hospital. Detective Warner nodded and scribbled some more. Thank you. And how old are you, Sophie? 19, I said, then sighed. I knew what would be coming next. The detective's head snapped up. 19, she replied, her eyebrows raising. Wow, I thought you were much younger than that. I was ready for you to say 14, 15 at the most. Yeah, I nodded, and a twinge of pain ricocheted through my neck and left shoulder. That's what everyone says. My parents often withheld food from us, so we probably didn't grow as much as we should have. Especially Rachel. She's 12, but she looks about 8. How is she, by the way? I looked from Detective Warner to her silent colleague. A pang of worry tinged with annoyance shook through me. I keep asking the nurses, but they just say they don't know anything, as she was taken to a different hospital. I'm close to all my siblings. We've had to have each other's backs from an early age, but Rachel and I have the tightest bond. I can tell what she's thinking without her having to say anything, and she often finishes my sentences without noticing she's doing it. We've never been apart since she arrived, not even for one night, so it's really weird not being with her now. I kind of feel like one of my limbs is missing. Ah. Detective Warner's eyes flashed over to meet the gaze of the man in the corner. I saw him give a small nod. Listen, Sophie, love, there's no easy way to tell you this, but I'm afraid Rachel didn't make it. The doctors did everything they could for her, but she was pronounced dead late this morning. The sick rose so fast in my throat that despite my best efforts, I couldn't reach the cardboard bowl the nurse had placed on my side table in time. And the boys? I managed, wiping my mouth as tears welled up and splashed down my cheeks. I literally couldn't believe this was all happening. The detective in the corner grabbed a roll of blue tissue from a shelf and walked forward, placing it on the bed next to me before retreating back to his original position. Detective Warner turned towards him, and he nodded at her again. Well, you see, Sophie, he said, his voice steady and quiet. That's why we need you to...